let's talk about processes. Super fun. These actually happen to be one of my favorite things because I have witnessed at countless places the benefit of documenting processes. So let's get started with this. It will align the entire business with what you need to have done when you document processes, because everyone will understand what you're trying to do, why you need to do it, who's supposed to be doing it, what you're actually doing, all of the things that you need to know so that you avoid duplicative work, costly mistakes, all of that kind of stuff. So it's a pain in the butt sometimes up front, but it's really necessary to document those into an SOP, standard operating procedure, type of document or folder, or however you want to do it. I've worked at places where, back in the day, you might have a printed folder because you need people to actually sign on things. That's, big for when there's like regulatory bodies governing things. So you actually have like a book, but I've also done it digital, and either way, however you want to do it, very necessary. So point number one is processes are mapped. Can you say that in your business right now, processes are all mapped out? At least the important ones. The first step in optimizing operations is to ensure that processes are mapped out. So it doesn't have to be like every single little tiny thing, but at least the big things, because you want to know what happens, where it happens, when, why, who, all those types of things, as I mentioned. So it provides clarity and allows you to see where inefficiencies are and potential bottlenecks are before they become an issue. Number two, processes are documented. So once you have it mapped, you want to make sure that you are documenting them. You want a clear, accessible record, as I mentioned, format, however you want to do it, however you need to do it, but you want to make sure that there is consistency among the team. You don't want to have one team that's got them, printed in a certain way and one team over here. Consistency ideally is key so that there can be, just understanding of these are how we do processes and everyone's got pretty much the same template. So it just makes it a lot easier. So it's not enough to know these things in your head. It has to be available for the entire team to reference. I can't tell you how many times when I've started somewhere new, there's been issues. Billing is probably one of the bigger things, like to not screw up with customers. And it's like, this person might know how to do something, but what happens when that person goes on vacation? It's like simple things, but they get sick or they go on vacation, whatever it is. And like anybody should be able to pick that up and be able to build a customer and successfully have an interaction and not have, things lost or things confused, things messed up, the wrong, dollar amounts, just because it's not documented. Point number three is everyone signed off on the process and knows where they're at. So a big thing is, everyone involved in the process should not only understand it, but they really need to sign off on it. And I am huge on revision tables. Anytime there is a change that needs to be documented and flagged somehow, because that is a big deal. You can understand it the first time, but you really need to make sure that that's signed off on so that anytime there's a change, everyone is up to date on how we do things going forward. So when the team is aligned on the process, you can work faster and more efficiently. That's the other thing too. You can use this when you're trying to delegate work, when you're trying to train someone on something new. It's just there. There's no need to have to go through and explain it again and again and again because it's just there. There's a reference guide. So point number four is processes, the results are measured. So one of the most important things in any process is measurement. It's very easy to just say, this is what we do, this is how we do it, and then it just keeps on going and going and going. But you don't want to do that. I mentioned audits in earlier videos, and you want to make sure that you are auditing these things because these processes, as time changes, might not make sense anymore. There might be a new tool with AI that you should be incorporating, or, there might be, if it's storage requirements, there could be new freezer, there could be new parts of the warehouse, whatever it might be. So you want to make sure you're auditing those to pay attention to when changes are and communicating it with the relevant parties. And if they're not making sense, I should say this too, if the process is not making sense anymore because it's not generating what was expected in terms of revenue dollars or whatever it is, you want to make sure that you're noticing that so you can change it so that it is. Point number five is bottlenecks are regularly addressed. So bottlenecks can slow down operations, they cause frustrations, and that's why regularly addressing them is essential. So you want to identify and remove the roadblocks as soon as possible so that things are flowing smoothly. So the team stays productive, deadlines are hit without delay. Point number 6, resources are allocated effectively. So effective resource allocation is a key part of optimizing your processes, as you can imagine, but it's not just about having the enough resources, but ensuring that they're being used in the right way. So at the right time, I should say too. So when resources, whether it's time, money, manpower, whatever it is, they're allocated efficiently so the whole process becomes more efficient and people are aligned with the goals. You can have people who might have a certain job role and, depending on the type of job, let's say like a customer service type role, they could have 5-6 free hours a day every day. And so it's like you've got this head count here. Is there some other additional way to be helping the customer that they could be used in? If you're not really paying attention to the everyday process and how things are working, especially if processes are getting sped up because they've been done so many times and people are really getting, familiar with them, you've got all these hours that are just there that aren't being used. So it's really important to look back at that stuff. Number 7 is feedback loops are in place. So continuous improvement is the name of the game. And feedback loops allow you to gather insights from the team and customers to see what's working and what needs adjustment. So again, with the processes, you can document things, you can start them, you can have, these going on for 6 months to a year, but you need to get feedback because maybe adjustments need to be made. It's very possible that as time goes on, things get quicker, things are slow and they need to implement a tool or whatever it might be. So you really want to make sure that those feedback loops are in place so that you're hearing what's going on. Especially, I go back to billing. Customer feedback could be that something's really not working in the billing process and you don't want to keep doing that over and over again and upsetting customers, especially at the billing stage, because that's a great opportunity for people to go and leave you negative reviews. So make sure you're paying attention. Number 8 is that processes are completely aligned with company strategy and goals. So can you say that that is the case? I go back to earlier video where we were talking about making sure the short-term and the long-term are balanced and that the short-term things that you're doing are leading towards achieving long-term goals. And when it comes to this, it's like you want to make sure that the processes are supporting the strategic objectives. So in video 6, we were talking about strategy and goals, and this is a prime example of you can say, I want to get new customers. Hopefully it's in SMART goal format where you give the amount of customers and all of that. But the point is you can say that, but if your processes are not doing that, they're not aligned to help you get there, that is a major fail. So you really want to make sure that the things that you're doing aren't just to do them, but that they're all coming together and working towards the same end result. And that is it for the points on these. These, again, are not all encompassing, but they are the major things to focus on when it comes to processes. So overall, if you're mapping things out, you're documenting them, it's not just a nice to have. You really need to do it. And a really easy way to get started, because it can be kind of overwhelming, is every time something's new, just have a template ready where you can just kind of get it started and put the basics in there. So it's not like this overwhelming thing where you've got like 150